I'm a Capricorn.
Me too.
What?
My birthday is the 3rd.
January 11th.
Come on now. Happy belated.
Thank you.
Capricorn season. Oh, I'm going to talk my talk. Y'all not going to be able to tell me nothing.
Capricorns run it.
Episode. Y'all prepare to be sick of me. Okay. Hey, y'all. We are live. Hey, hey, hey. How is everybody? I am super excited to be back here in the ladies lounge for so many reasons. Of course, we are about to get into it, but Happy New Year, everyone. We are still in Capricorn season. I just found out my brother here is a Capricorn. Shout out to the goats. We still in season. We still locked in. Y'all know we in the year. We started off right. So this episode is even more special because this is a Capricorn episode. So for those of you that know, you know. Okay. So as always, welcome back to the Ladies Lounge podcast, y'all. We are in 2026. Happy New Year, if I haven't said it yet. This is a year where we're all about new beginnings, fresh perspectives, and walking boldly into our purpose, no matter what your past looks like. So, here in the Ladies Lounge, we believe that your mistakes don't define you, your choices moving forward do. On today's powerful episode, inspiring, and it is definitely necessary, y'all. We're talking about second chances, accountability, and transformation. Joining us is JJ. Shout out.
What up, world? What everybody?
And
Hello,
now correct me. So you are the CEO of Felons for Change.
the world. Felons for change the world.
Felons for Change the World. So y'all, we are about to learn a lot about CEO. We're gonna put some respect on it. CEO Jay here. We're gonna learn about the brand, the movement that's dedicated to turning lives around and rewriting narratives. This conversation is just about for those who made mistakes. It's for any and everyone who believes in growth, redemption, and becoming better than yesterday. So, as y'all know, if you are new here, you're going to find out very quickly. We definitely want to grab them drinks. We want to get comfortable, lean in, because we are turning setbacks into comeback. I'm so excited. Before we go any further here, y'all in the ladies' lounge, we do go over some house rules. They still stand. We just ask that you are respectful, ask questions, right? Because that's what we here to talk about. This is the conversations that we need to have before the time run out, and we just don't want to sit here and talk to ourselves. So whether you're watching this live, drop it in the chat. Shout out to everyone watching live. If you are watching this rebroadcast, thank you for stopping by. Leave a comment. We want to hear from you. Engage actively. Most importantly, y'all, we gonna have fun. We are in 2026. God brought us all the way here, and He has not failed us, and He is not done with us yet. So without further ado, my
Hmm.
brother Jay, what's up?
What's up? What's up, sis? Thank you for having me. I super appreciate you. This is my second podcast that my sisters have put me on. So thank you. It's a blessing and I truly appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for reaching out, coming on, showing love and support. That's definitely what we need to see more of out here is everybody just coming together. And I do believe that's something that you have spoke on a video that you posted is about, male and females, not just everybody clicked up together with their gender, but us definitely, coexisting together and just setting that tone. So it starts with us. So without further ado, tell us about the brand, Felons for Change.
The brand is Felons for Change the World. It was created when I was locked up and I was facing a substantial amount of time. I was facing 77 years, and I was thinking of some ideas of change. So I noticed a lot. There's a lot of good brothers that are locked up who are seeking to make changes in their life. Who made bad decisions. Family men. Some just caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. So I thought I wanted to put some positive on that word felon, on that name felon. So I came up with felons for change the world, because we're not just talking about changing, the block, the state. the country. We talk about changing the world, and we have the power to do that. No matter where we come from, no matter what we've been through, we have the power to change our lives through faith and through the power of the Lord. We can change, and through our voice and through our actions, we can change the world. So, fellas, for change the world. So,
I love it. Absolutely. And my mom is she gonna get me for this one, but definitely this is a powerful conversation because I know as you just briefly mentioned about your experience of being locked up. My mom is a retired correctional officer. So I remember days where it was like take your child to work day and I would just go and when those bars and doors closed behind you, that was just like a game changer for me. So I know we'll get more into depth in your story. But y'all forgive me for even jumping so far ahead because y'all know we always like to have these icebreaker questions, get in our guest business who come by a little bit and have a little bit of fun. So I do have an icebreaker question for you.
okay.
Um, so what's one moment in your life that changed the direction of everything?
Uh, there's several moments that change the direction of everything, but um, I would have to say the uh, the passing of my aunt and cousin of one of dementia and then one of cancer. So that definitely changed the um, the direction because that created the whole Felons to Change the World, Her Voice podcast, and the movement, the cultural movement with my sisters, the women of color. So I would have to say that that's definitely the defining moment.
Okay, I definitely understand that.
Several.
Definitely understand it. And y'all heard how he slid that in there, but he does have a podcast himself, and he is going to share all of this information before the episode is out. Y'all, podcast is out here. And I just love that we have a space where we can have these conversations and learn so much. Just to know something different about each other. But I told y'all keep rocking with your girl. We have some heavy hitters in the building. Um, and then I have another icebreaker question for you. As we step into a new year, what does starting over truly mean to you?
Starting over means whew, that was a great question, by the way. And so for me, starting over means changing everything. I had some notes written down here. Being intentional, being intentional and consistent about changing our habits, and it looking good on the outside, but it being hard on the inside. If you understand what I mean, because change looks real beautiful on the outside, but if it's not difficult inside, then I don't believe we're working on anything. Because it should be difficult, especially when we get later in our years, to change a lot of our habits and the things we used to do.
I love it. I love it. I know some people are scared of like that word change. And it could be such a beautiful thing because it could just be you adding on a piece of a layer to your life, or just changing up a routine that didn't work for you that you had set, changing those goals. So that starting over, that change, it's always a good thing. That's why we have, I don't know if y'all heard that song, but if not, just drop a gem. Jagged Edge Season Change, Future and John Legend. Like that is one of my favorite songs because it makes so much sense. When the seasons changes, it's new growth. It's new. It's supposed to be exciting. So starting over is always a good thing. And you're not too old to start over, right? We don't want to put that narrative out there. Um, but let's jump into getting to know a little bit more about you. For those meeting you for the first time, who is Jay beyond the title of CEO?
Uh, I'm a recovering alcoholic. I'm a believer. Uh, I'm a very kind and very humble man. I'll just start there.
I love it. Short, sweet, and straight to the point. Because so many times we often look at just these titles as just that's who defines you, but it's more behind just that title, that really makes up the person. So with that said, with life experiences, shape what life experiences, I'm sorry, shaped the man and leader you are today?
Well, it was a great deal. You have thank you for these questions. By the way, they're great questions. A great deal of life experiences. My brother unaliving himself. My grandmother passing, and the fortitude that my mother possesses. That that's that I wouldn't be able to have overcame half the stuff if I didn't watch her um, do it throughout my life. And it took me till I got older to understand that. Sometimes we got to go through stuff before we understand what our parents went through. But I would definitely the my brother unalive. He unalived himself. My grandmother was the closest person to me. She loved me the most, and then she died of diabetes. And then just the fortitude of my mother, watching a lot of things she went through with abuse and being a single mother and things of that nature.
Thank you for that. And my condolences. I'm sorry to hear about your loss. And I was just having this conversation. This conversation I've been having a lot lately. Just hearing about people who pay tribute and honor to the loved ones that went before them, the ones that had that great impact on their lives. Oftentimes it's like nowadays, who do we have that we admire, not just for our generation or your generation, but even for the young ones. So that plays a role into why having these podcast talks is so important. Because not to say that you have to mirror what we're doing, but in hopes that it does make an impact on you, to know that we go through life experiences. Our life experiences are who and what shapes us for today. So I definitely feel that. Was there a defining moment when you knew your life had to change?
Yeah, there was a couple of defining moments when I was definitely when I was um, facing those 77 years. Uh, I was being bullied and took the law into my own hands and had an altercation where somebody got another gentleman got severely injured. He ended up being okay, thanks by the grace of God. But during that time sitting in that jail cell, that was right when my grandma had passed. And, I was 40 something years old at the time. And I was like, wow, I'm 44 years old. I'm sitting in a jail cell. I don't have a pot to piss in. Um, and if they do give me these 77 years, this will be what I will, this will be the only thing I have to say. I have nothing going into this to leave out there that I can say, look what you did for society. This is what you did for society. You went to jail for 77 years. And then the last time I drank, which was almost a year ago, I would say that was the last defining moment. My friend, she told me, she said, you're going to lose everything. Everything you recreated and built up for yourself, you're going to lose it. And so I checked myself into rehab and started completely over. I still had my brand and rebuilt it back up. And that's when I said in my last interview, I had the motto, "No one's coming to save me," because I had prayed to God, and God responded. That was what God responded. He said, "Ain't nobody coming to save you, bro. Your 9 lives are up." He said,
Wow.
and when
Wow.
tell you that, when God tell you that, and I had been messing up for years, but I had never got that message.
Mm.
And that was the message. He said, "This is it." He said, "Your 9 lives is up. Nobody's coming to get you. Nobody's coming to put money in your pocket. Nobody's coming to get you out off alcohol. Nobody's coming to give you a place to stay. Nothing, buddy." So I was like, "Yeah, about that time."
Wow.
Been about that time.
Right. Well, I'm happy that you took heed to it. That's what's so special about these life experiences and having those. those moments where we have the rug pulled from up under us, and we just sometimes don't have no choice. And God has already, went before us, and He gave us the signs of what it is that what we need not to be doing. And we don't heed the warnings. But boy, when He pulled that rug and He makes you sit down, that's when it's like, okay, that's when you have to make those important decisions. And what I do love about your story of what you're sharing so far is, that you still was afforded the opportunity to come back and leave your footprints, right? Because that's what I'm hearing you say. If you had to sit down for that long, what is it that I left out here, that can make an impact to society and to the world besides, um, what I have done. So I think that's so important, and that's the gem. And hopefully it didn't go over anyone's head to know that, you still, it's choices that we make. We all make our bed and we got to lay in it, but ultimately, what you do afterwards, what you've learned from it, for me, in my opinion, that's what really, where it really counts and matters. And I love that you said that, you listen to God. Was like,
Shout
like I
out,
said, when He pull that rug down and make you sit down, He like, you gonna listen.
but shout out to Judge Hunter too out in Atlanta because her a lot of sisters, uh, black women came while I was facing that time, and
Mhm.
educators from Georgia Piedmont Technical College came down there and they had me in school. I wrote letters to Judge Hunter, a black woman judge, and she was able to understand and do her research and understand what the situation was, and that I
Wow.
was out here, going, being foolish, knocking folks up, strangers upside the head. So she was able to do her research and give me a second chance. So shout out to Judge Hunter and shout out to Georgia Piedmont Technical College and all them sisters that came down there and empowered me and helped me get my mind right.
Absolutely. That's amazing. And definitely, thank you to those beautiful ladies who stepped in and filled in the gap, to help you out. And this is what we talk about, the community coming together, not passing judgment. We use the TikTok trend, we listen and we don't judge, but how oftentimes are we actually making a change to do what's right, and sitting down, learning, doing the research, educating ourselves so we can help. So that is amazing, that you had some heavy hitters behind you that did not stop, did not sit down on it. So that's amazing. Let's talk about the birth of the brand though. What inspired you to really say, what, this is the creation, this is the birth here?
Well, that goes back to being incarcerated with a lot of different men. Because I work with so many women of color. A lot of times people they get the misconception that I don't rock with my brothers, but that's a total misconception.
Mm,
But I just have had a lot of sisters in my corner, and so that's my.
right.
But a lot of those brothers in there, uh, like I said, wanted to change. You had family men in there who was taking care of they holding down they families, and then they got caught up. You know what I'm saying? At the wrong place at the wrong time, and they was really in there trying to change their lives. They was going to school and they was doing anything. So I really wanted to take that name and reverse it and make it something positive out of it, out of that felon. So that's where the felons, people don't get the rest of it. Felons for change the world, and then it's
Right.
transformation with humility. So
Change the world.
there's a lot of brothers in the penitentiary and jail that are ready and have been ready to make those changes and be positive role models in society, and they just need that opportunity.
Right. Right. And it goes back to, like, what I said earlier. Sometimes we oftentimes, and I'm saying we, just as humans, we pass judgment because, somebody is incarcerated, and not understanding, the reasons behind it, because you're more than what took place in lifetime of whatever happened in your life, but just being that major impact. So shout out to you for definitely, wanting to change and help give back to the community. Now, what gap did you see that made you say something has to be done? Like, what was that aha moment for you?
Mm. That was what question was that? That was question five, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I had. Oh, okay. So I hadn't really seen anybody from. And I'm not saying there's nobody that does,
Right.
but I really hadn't seen anybody come from the pit that was speaking on a national level. When I say the pit, I mean drunk, cracked out on the street. I mean in jail. I mean just been at the lowest of lows and just turn their life around and were able to really show what God can do and speak. Now, once again, I'm not saying these people don't exist, but at the time when I was creating the brand, I hadn't personally seen anybody that came from the pit. I seen many people who did things like, my one of my guys I look up to is Eric Thomas. He he did a lot of things and came, but I hadn't seen nobody that really came from where I came from, like sleeping next to drunk folks on the on the park bench. Just people who have got people just who society forgot about, who said, they'll never come back. And so, that gap, that's what really, I hadn't seen that. So that's what I wanted to create. I wanted to really show through God's light that that's possible. So those that are in those situations can see that it's possible.
Right. Right. No, I definitely understand that. And we just thank God for you. Okay. We we thank him for you for having that eye, that special eye to see what needed to be done and actually putting forth the effort and action to do it. Now, going over to like how and I'm saying the brand because I know it's a long name, like on I shorten it on my end because the felons for felons for change. But how does that differ from any other reentry or advocacy organizations?
That's a great question. And one of my homegirls, she just say FFC. She got tired of saying fellas for change. She's like FFC or Jay. She's like FFC. But it's not a reentry program. And I can my homegirl, she had asked me the same question. You know,
Mhm.
I think our programs differ by who's in control of it or who's behind it. I can only be who I am and attract what I
Right.
through who I am and what my vision is. It might be the same as somebody's, or somebody might see me and see something different in me and want to deal with me. So, but I am not a reentry program. Through what I do, I know people, and the more that I do interviews like this, I meet people, and they have reentry programs and housing and things like that. And through me, I can get people to those people. I have friends and stuff now across the country that I can direct people to. But like my boy said, he said, "You are the felons for change. I am the felon for change. I am the representation."
Right.
So,
Right. See, I try to tell y'all hang out with me. You're gonna meet some, powerful, impactful people here, and that's definitely important to have those resources because I say it all the time. The resources are within our own community. You just gotta tap in and tune in, to find out about it. Now let's talk about turning setbacks into comebacks. What was that LL Cool J? Say don't call it a comeback. But what does that personally mean to you?
it's an example of God's mercy and grace. It means there's hope,
Mm,
because as long as we still have hope, that's why we get up every day. That's why we go
right,
still search for them jobs. That's why we still, you know what I'm saying, put on our pants when we don't want to get up. You know what I'm saying?
right.
So just it's an example of God's mercy and grace. It's just hope.
That's deep, because sometimes, people need the tangible, right? Because hope, you can't really see it, but hope comes from that spiritual place. It's not something that we can see. It's something that you speak over yourself when you prayer, right? Affirmations, all of these things are not tangible, but when you speak life into yourself, when you speak life into your situation, you can actually start seeing it. You're supposed to visualize yourself in that space, and that's what works for you. But because we want things that we could just touch and feel, we miss the mark on that every time. So I'm definitely grateful that you said that. Now let's talk about like the mindset shift.
Yeah.
What is necessary for someone who feels their past disqualifies them because they're often judged, and just misunderstood.
That's another great question, and that falls into what you're asking me before, and it's really in intentionality. Um, it's practicing consistently and being intentional about changing our habits. For example, if I know I have a drinking problem or an anger problem, I have to be intentional about waking up every day and
Right.
doing something positive to fix that. Whether it's
Right.
prayer, it's going to classes. I have to be intentional about it because, like I said, the motto: nobody's coming to save me.
Right.
Nobody's coming to save. So I have to be consistent. And I'm not sitting here saying, "Oh, this stuff is easy." No. Why you think I had fell down so many times and had to get back up? Why you think I'm almost 50 just now going the light bulb going off? It's
Yeah.
very not easy. It's not easy. But these are things that I've learned over the years and over my failures and over my setbacks. These are tools that I picked up that I've learned now to use as I've gotten older. And the word gives me these tools anytime. For me, my faith and scripture gives me tools, but just being intentional every day,
Right.
even when
Right.
you're because on the outside, God gives us the shine, right?
Mhm.
Us the glory of getting ourselves together, putting on some new clothes, giving us
Right.
a car, or whatever it is that we get, building back relationships and friendships and family members, whatever it is, putting a smile on our face. That's the outside. But on the inside, there's work to do. There's still pain that the people that are on the outside can't see. They just see JJ walking through with a smile on his face and doing everything the right way. But they don't know the work that has to be put in inside to make sure that occurs on a regular basis. So we have to be intentional every single day about being on point, about being on top of our game.
Right. And one thing I found out that with what you said of being intentional, it creates a discipline. Because as long as you have that, then it creates the routine, right? Like I'm very intentional of who I keep in my space now, right? So that now it comes a part of my daily routine or just whatever it is. I'm trying to tell y'all we in the new year and I'm trying to work on being intentional with this workout plan. Some stuff we just not God ain't done with me yet, y'all. Let me just say that. But like you said, it's oftentimes it's not easy. It's not easy being intentional because we often fall back into our habits naturally. But when you understand your why and what the purpose is behind it, you have to love and trust you first
Right.
and know that you are not your past,
And that's
right?
why and that's why you say, you're not hanging out with so many people. And that's why people don't understand that part where they say, oh, this guy don't hang out with nobody no more. He always by himself. I got things going on inside, bro, that I'm trying to stay together that y'all don't even know about. You
You
feel me?
know what I'm saying?
I'm working on me. You know what I'm saying? It ain't even nothing personal towards you. I got
Right.
me together. You feel me? So,
Right.
hey, that
Right.
sacrifice.
Absolutely. I love that. Now, this next question here. How do you balance grace for the past with accountability for the future?
Mm. Uh, being humble in
Mm,
the service. That's key. Um, because when we do get that grace from God, the first thing we want to do, we want to hit them TikTok streets and that Facebook streets and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you know what I'm saying? We want to hit that Kirk Franklin. You know what I'm saying? We want to put on that, that Pastor Mike. You know what I'm saying? Look at me. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, have fun. Show God what God's doing for you. But the people around you, the people that know you, the people, well, everybody, but definitely the people that know you and are close to you, that love you, that gave you those second opportunities, that believed in you. We got to be humble. We got to be humble in life. We should be humble every time we hit in them streets. We need to be humble.
Absolutely.
That
Absolutely.
that because a lot of people didn't make it.
Absolutely.
We should be in the streets very humble, being of service. I'm always telling anybody, if I can do anything, if the church need me, you ain't gotta pay me. I'll be of service. I'll do whatever needs to be done. I'm here to be of service. So
Right.
just being humble and being of service.
Right, right. And shout out to the chat. Hey, y'all. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking time out. I hope you all are enjoying tonight's episode. It's amazing. And if you came in late, like some of us do, hey, listen, we listen and we don't judge y'all. Just make sure y'all go back and watch it, rebroadcast, watch the first couple of seconds of here, because you may have missed something that's powerful now that my brother over here talking about. But just in time for let's talk about breaking the stigma. What's the biggest misconception society has about people with felony convictions?
Man, like we ain't like they ain't gonna never change. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
That's the biggest one. Like people ain't gonna never change, and that's difficult because you know we don't want to minimize any victims, right? We don't want to minimize any victims' pain or anybody who went through hurt. So definitely, not, I don't want to do that. We want to be accountable. But a lot of people think that people won't change. So those opportunities and resources sometimes aren't there for everybody.
right, right. And, you know, so when I came up with that question and I sat with it just for a few minutes, it's like we we often judge harder of people who, are convicted felons or, have been incarcerated versus, we're us who haven't been in jail or anything like that. And still we are human. Everybody has a past. Everybody has done something where you probably didn't swipe all them groceries at the checkout line. We see you, okay? And you just didn't get caught and you ain't get put in jail versus we just hold so much just judgment to people who have been in jail. And I know my mom gonna get me, but growing up with her being in the correction officer field, law enforcement field, and going and talking and sitting with inmates, I never looked at them as inmates. I always looked at them as human beings, and I took the advice that they gave me. Okay, because I knew I wasn't trying to end up behind bars or anything like that. But more importantly, they are human. They have a story, and their story is just as beautiful as mine being on the other side of the glass. So, I just would challenge people not to be so heavy because by law, or however you want to look at it, like people, they went in and they had on this, color jumpsuit, or they're now they're looked at as a number when ultimately they are still human beings at the end of the day. There's no sin is greater than the other. You
And
get what I'm saying?
and I had wrote this down too. I just seen it from your question that we're not remorseful. Not only that we won't change, but that we're not remorseful for
Right.
some of the decisions we made.
That is so true. I agree with that. Absolutely. Now, how does stigma impact employment, family, relationships, and self-worth?
Ooh, man, it gives a person hopelessness
Mm,
instead of empowerment. It gives hopelessness because in some situation it can, like I said, it can reduce opportunities. So you 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 come out, you spend this time, and mind you, when I'm speaking for felons, I'm mainly speaking for myself and
okay.
brothers that I've seen who are trying to get out and be on the righteous side of things. That's what I'm speaking about. People who are trying to come out and do the right, be on the righteous side. So it gives a person hopelessness instead of empowerment because, like I said, if you come out and you've been in there like, man, when I get out, I'm finna do this. You've been writing down your plan. You've been,
Right,
you've been counting down the days from years
right,
to a month to now you get out and then it's like bam, ain't nobody out there showing you love or giving you that push. They don't believe in you, and then
right.
and mind you, that's why I say that goes back to ain't nobody coming to save you. I'm not I'm not saying people have to give me anything because we made our choices and we made some bad choices. So I'm not saying anybody has to show us love. I'm just saying these are the things that fall in the line with what you said. It gives us hopelessness and just when we really need empowerment. We really need somebody to be out there. Yeah, like my auntie and them did before they passed. Boy, you can get it. You got it. Yeah,
Right,
I know you finna come on. Get
right.
on out there. You finna get that job. They seen my aunt, and my cousin, they seen the man I am today before I was the man I am today.
Wow,
They treated me like I'm the man I am today when I wasn't the man I am today. So they seen something in me,
right,
giving me that energy and that spirit.
right,
I even got there.
right. They spoke to that higher being in you, and man, you saying that gives me goosebumps often, all the time, because even even with what you're saying, like, the hopelessness and things of that nature, again, we have to pour back into ourselves. Even for me, when I oftentimes like have that moment, I'm just like, I need to pick me up, or I'm just unsure. Oftentimes when I could go right on TikTok, and I kid you not, the first TikTok that comes on is a prayer, is confirmation, is affirmations, and all of these good things that you really can just put back into yourself. And even with that, again, on the spiritual level, y'all know how we say these technologies listen to us. So just imagine, the type of conversations I'm like, I must be having some great conversations if my algorithm is showing me, showing me this, or the next when I stroll up, I'm over here learning to dance or something. And it's just really like, like you said, just having fun, leaning back on your foundation, and even if you didn't grow up with the type of grandparents that it sounds like we had similar with each other, you know find that circle, find your tribe, how whatever that looks like for you, you
Amen.
know and go from there. That's why I said these conversations are so important, because it shows you that you're not alone. Everybody have different walks of life, but as I say, we all trying to get to the next level. The end result is the same. You know how you could put that address in the GPS, and the GPS gives you different routes that you could take, but the end result is still that same address that you put in there, that
Amen.
we all trying to get to. So I ain't gonna take out the church up in here, but just know your girl took this hiatus, and I'm vibrating on a higher level, y'all. So but anyways, what do what do employers want, like, and leaders want to understand? Like, what do you want them to understand?
Well, I had to really, when you asked me that, I was like, wow, I should be really very careful with answering this because, that's a very serious question.
Right.
And I think you don't want to just start, I don't want to just start rambling off things just to try to sound intelligent or whatever. So, you know, I thought about some of the things that I wanted, when I got out and things like that. Some of the things that I learned from being in rooms with some of these people, these teachers and stuff like that. So for me, um, I think more funding should be created to create programs that empower the positive strengths of individuals seeking opportunities to come back into society. So there's a lot of brothers, So to give you an example, when I was locked up, the sisters from Georgia Piedmont Tech, they came in there and whenever I would say something or do something or they found a skill that I had, they would boost that skill up. And I didn't know what that was. And I was reading the book back in my cell, and I came across the word empowerment, and I read the definition. So I went back to the class. I said, "Oh, y'all empowering me." And they started laughing, and they seen the light bulb went off. So my point is, when we see brothers and sisters who have skills or who have things that they can do, we should have funding and programs that lean on those strengths. So when they come out, and I'm not saying they don't, but there should be more. So when they come out, those strengths can be used in a positive way when they're seeking opportunities to do better.
Absolutely. I love that you said that. Absolutely. And I think that, and this is just my opinion out here in your response, because I was like, oh, some of these questions, I was like, oh, I can't wait to hear the response. But, listening to that, I definitely hope that there is somebody that's watching that can create this, because then that would boost, take it up a notch from that hopelessness, because now you can feel like you are making an impact, and like your past is not holding you down, and you don't have these shackles on you, because it's like, man, I can't even get this job, or I can't even utilize these skills that I learned from this time I had to sit down, because where's the necessary resources?
Because if we don't create, if there's not things to help make them useful, then we fall back to the things that we thought was useful, like
Right,
the gangs, and
right,
things that were being normalized in the hood. That was the cool things to do. We need to,
right.
start normalizing these other positive things too, like we're doing. I'm not going to sit here and say we're not doing that, but we need more of that.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love that you touched on that for sure. Now we gonna get into this real change in impact. Um I know you have a story, a success story that truly represents the mission of FFC.
Yeah. Um, for I would have to, I would have to use myself, and
Right.
this is why, because I have failed and got up so many times. I should not, I had everybody in life give up on me. From,
Wow.
I mean, literally everybody, from my kids to family, everybody just, we done, and I've got up, fell again, got up, fell again. But God stuck with me. God stuck with me. And when that light bulb of the Lord comes into your life, it's
Say
different.
it.
It's a
Say
different
it.
ball game.
Yeah,
It's a whole different ball game. So,
absolutely.
I'm not here to toot my own horn, because that's not what I do. But I gotta be real with you. I the just the I mean, sleeping on corners, drunk is like a hobo, to nobody want me in their house. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Going and being locked up, and just time and time again, and everybody saying this dude is never going to change.
Hmm.
But I'm here to tell you, God is real, and God is the truth, and through Him all things are possible.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when you start believing that, again, it goes back to, just speaking life over yourself. And when you start believing how real God is, and you actually just take that moment to just look around and see how he shows up in ways that we may not have asked for. We asked for it, but we wasn't specific, in what it was that we needed. And it's like, now I have the understanding better of, but God, of what that means. So when you say he's real, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with that 1,000%. Um, now, what transitioning into this next question, what does real transformation look like? Not just the talk, but the action. You know how you see on the social media streets, everybody using these hashtags, healing journey, hashtag this and that. But what's the real? What does the action look like?
It looks consistent.
Mm,
It looks consistent and it looks beautiful on the outside, but goes back to hard on the inside. Because because there, I don't want nobody to ever tell me personally, yeah, they doing good, but they still not having trouble inside. Because to me, if you're still not dealing with things inside, then that means you ain't there yet. Because
right,
we're gonna always have to be. I'm gonna always have to be working on myself. I don't.
right.
I'm a recovering alcoholic. I drank for 30 years. This transformation that God did took years. So
Right,
I'm gonna have to every day be working on the inside myself. So that's what
right.
it looks consistent on the outside.
Mhm.
It's gonna be consistent, but on the inside, it's gonna be work. So I tell everybody, be prepared to go to war with yourself for your life. If you're not prepared to go to war with yourself for your life, then you ain't prepared for this, buddy.
Whew, listen, I wish I could just rewind that and then have you play it again.
It's
So that, I mean, because that is so, it's real. It's real. And even though you're telling your story but there's a lot that we all could resonate with, right? And like you said, you've been drinking for 30 years. I'm working on my anxiety. It's a work in progress every day. Even though, I think the best thing that was said to me, like, when your doctor tells you, well, did you finish out your medicine when you go for a checkup after a cold or something? And you like, no, I stopped taking it because I felt good. Well,
right,
how you gonna stop? You know what I'm saying? Like, you wasn't consistent with taking the medicine. So, on that level, then you can't play with your life.
right.
Like you said, every day it's work. It's the reminder of yourself. You have to put yourself first. It's not, and I think being selfish in that way is healthy, because oftentimes if you're not good, then how you gonna be good to anybody else?
And it also looks lonely because
Mm,
and I'm speaking on my journey. You have,
right,
you have to find yourself alone at times because I can't go out and hang and do the things that everybody else is doing because of my walk.
right,
You know what I'm saying? So I have to make those decisions to build up that wall and roll dolo and you know what I'm saying? And
right.
but the peace that God gives us for those
Mhm.
sacrifices, you can't put a money, you can't put a price tag on that peace that God gives.
Absolutely.
I would
Absolutely.
rather go through the war because at some point you get to a level where you get more peaceful and yeah,
Right.
it gets a little easier. But I'm
Right.
not gonna sit here and tell nobody some fake story like, oh, one day, oh yeah, you just good and you just walking down the street or you chilling. No, because the devil stay busy.
Ooh.
He always got something for you. You know what I'm
And
saying?
what they say, and do, right?
You
You
know that
Walmart and all them
no,
places. We may not have
hey,
24-hour stores anymore.
the devil will say JJ, the liquor store open.
See what I'm saying?
Ain't nobody around. The liquor store open,
You
right?
see,
You know what I'm saying? You can brush your teeth. All you gotta do is put a little mouthwash on, brush your teeth.
see, see,
The devil stay busy. So that's why, like you said earlier, we have to form those habits
right,
so it becomes habitual. Now,
right.
that's why I said it gets a little easier, but we have to have those war with ourselves to form those habits. So now, not going to the liquor store is just a habit because we've been doing that. We've been making that right turn for so long, going the opposite way. Now it's just we
Yes,
make that right turn
yes,
because
yes,
it's come natural to us. You feel me? So yeah,
right.
just being intentional.
Yeah, absolutely. You will see. it's an episode. I did an episode last year, January, where I talked about planting the seeds, right? So once you make that decision of what it is that you want to do, you're planting the seed. Now watering that plant and taking care of it is your actions. Is being intentional, is having that discipline, that consistency, everything that you have mentioned. And like you said, I'm so happy you kept it real because I often tell people it get ugly and it's dark and ain't nobody else around you, because some stuff you can't talk about because this is your journey that you have to go through and you got to get through it. You have to see it through, right? In order to see those results that you are hoping and wanting. And now for the sake of time, because I just hate this part.
Hold on, let me say
I'm a,
one more thing.
no, go ahead.
Stay away from people who are not rooting for you.
Ooh,
Stay
ooh,
away from people who are not rooting for you.
ooh.
Talk about people. I ain't saying go around people who just kissing your butt. I
Right.
and stay away from people who are not rooting for you, who do not have your best interest. If
And
they
see
not
now
fighting
you,
with you, they fighting.
yeah. And see, now you took it into that part of the conversation where actually, I wanted to know what advice do you have someone out there who, is just starting their journey of being released or, just don't want to be judged anymore for this. What advice do you have for them?
You're gonna be judged. I mean, you're gonna be judged. I mean, we live in a world. We live in an evil world. There's
Mhm.
always you can change your life. I wish I could tell you that we're never gonna be, but that's always going to be there. But it's important to just keep forming those habits, gaining that confidence, prayer, 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 sticking with
Right,
scripture,
right,
sticking
right.
with faith. I can only speak for me. Faith is my armor.
Come on,
Is my number one armor is my faith.
come
When
on.
I don't have nothing left in me to fight, I go to that scripture and I go to God.
Right,
So when you don't have enough, just faith, because people for their own reasons. I stopped trying to figure out why people do what they do. They will try to break you down. They will try to get you off your square with your recovery. They will try to take
yeah,
confidence from you. They will judge you. They will say you ain't gonna make it. They will laugh at you. They will try to
right,
humiliate you. They will try to make you get off your square and fight them. The
yeah,
enemy will try anything. That's why it's important to be around people who will empower you. If not, stick to God and stand on your 10 and be by yourself. But uh,
right.
the people are always going to judge you. That's just life.
Yeah, yeah, that's isn't that what you say. That's as real as it gets. Yeah, yeah. Now I know this is the part where people are like, "Man, listen, we was listening to this Jay, and he was speaking and dropping so many gems. How can we keep up with you? How can we support the mission? Where can we find you? Like, drop the socials. Where you at?
So my YouTube is Felons for Change the World 6841, all one word. Felons for Change the World 6841. We're starting to blow up and pick up. I got my podcast. I'm about to have a guest. Mo Millions. She's awesome. She's got 1.2 million followers, and she's gonna help me get the message out and do an interview with me. We have a brand. I got one of my beanies on the fellas.
Now, because I was looking at it.
We got hats and shirts, but for me, go subscribe.
Yeah,
And then if you support the people on the podcast, because we have a bunch of different sisters on the podcast telling their stories, and then we got the Trans
right,
with Humility podcast, and that's more faith based. So just go watch the podcast,
right,
support those people. I'm not gonna sit here and say, I do need finances because that's how I want to travel and do more speaking, but I'm
right.
not. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not in it for the finance. I would just love to travel and speak more, but bills do have to be paid, but I would like more free time just to help people, just to go get the word out,
Right.
talk to other men and women, just to continue to inspire, help, be there, be able to go help somebody if they need me in a different state. Things of that nature. I believe God will supply all your needs if you stay righteous and do the right things. But if you want to rock the brand, you can come over to Felons for Change the World 6841. Get at me. We can send you some of the brand. We got stickers, we got calendars, and we're putting up the website. So if you don't want to deal with me personally, hit me up on the YouTube. We'll direct you to the website, and then you could just purchase what you want on the website. But the goal for me is to inspire and continue to motivate. I want to travel. I want to get better at speaking. That's why I love the fact that my sisters have had me on. This is my second show because I need to get better at speaking and answering these questions. So she has some wonderful questions. So that's my goal, is to just continue to inspire and motivate and do the podcast. So the best thing you can do to help me is go over to the podcast, Films Change World 6841. Hit that subscribe button, get me some views, and we'll let YouTube pay me instead of y'all paying me. We'll have YouTube
Come on.
pay.
Come on. Look, and while he talk about it, y'all make sure y'all subscribe to the Ladies Lounge YouTube as well, so we can make sure we get it, because it ultimately, we're not gatekeeping. We're providing the information here. We shining the spotlight on everybody, but ultimately you just hitting the subscribe button, you going back and looking at our videos, the content that we are posting, it does help, and I understand, because I am going to do better with posting and helping. I call them my seasoned, right? My seasoned saints. Yeah, everybody's not into the digital world, and and understand how this works. But I love that you said that. So make sure you go over and support my brother here. Subscribe to his YouTube channel. Make sure y'all definitely are subscribed to the Ladies Lounge podcast as well. YouTube channel. Turn on those notification bells. Like, comment, and subscribe, so that way you don't miss any of our content that we are posting, because God is using us as a vessel. So we're not here just for, just yeah, we want to get paid. Everybody want to get paid.
Right.
But ultimately, we are here to be inspirational, motivational, and the only way to keep going is with your support, right? So shout out to everybody in the chat. Hey y'all, we are back in the Ladies Lounge. I am so excited as we step into 2026. Let this be the year you release shame, embrace responsibility, and move forward with intention. Whether you're rebuilding, supporting someone who is, or simply learning to see people through a lens of grace, change is possible. A huge thank you to Jay, and his brand, CEO FFC. Hopefully I get to stop by and now be a guest on the podcast. I would love to, come over there and support. So thank you for the work that you're doing, and reminding us that setbacks don't cancel your purpose, y'all.
And,
It refines it.
and remember, you are all entitled to mercy and grace. We are all
Right.
entitled to mercy and grace.
That's
Everybody.
right. That's right. Absolutely. Now, as always, if this episode spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself. We ain't gatekeepers, so why are you? Make sure you share it, subscribe, like we said, join the conversation, because this is really, really, really important, because here in the Ladies Lounge, we're committed to growth for men and women and families, along with the communities, y'all. We are back. I am so excited. As always, if you want to come on to the Ladies Lounge podcast, y'all, just hit me up in my DMs. That's the only way I'm allowing y'all to come through in the DMs. You can find me on all social media streets. Your girl is back. I am super excited for 2026. As always, remember, in this space, we don't shrink, we shine. We don't compete, we connect, and we don't just talk, y'all. We growing. This is the Ladies Lounge, where everybody has a voice and every story has a power. I'm your host, Britt. There, yeah. I will see y'all next Wednesday here at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard. Jay, thank you so much for stopping by the Ladies Lounge. We hope to have you back here soon. Everybody else, welcome to 2026. I hope that you took something from it. If you need to rewatch it, make sure you got your pen and pad. Make sure y'all taking notes, because I'm coming with these conversations this year, y'all. We are not stopping. We are just beginning. Until next time, I love you all so much. Be safe.